Hi, welcome to Elizaverse. So today's topic is, what the hell is your rising sign? Okay, personally, I have a love-hate relationship with this placement. And the reason why is that in astrology, they say this is one of the most important or the most important. And then they say it's the external, it's like the mask you wear, which sounds very superficial to me. And so how can something so superficial be so crucial? And some people actually believe that it's stronger of an influence over your chart than even your sun sign. But if it's just a mask you wear, then isn't a mask something you can just remove and then it's not really who you really are? And if you read deeper, there's different definitions for the rising sign. In Eastern astrology, it has to do with karma, and it says it's like how your soul enters the world, because it's where the ascendant is the highest point in the eastern sky when you're born. But then in Western astrology, they describe it as these different layers, like an onion. So on the first layer, you're going to have the ascendant, and then if you peel that back, then the next thing you see in a person's personality is the sun. You peel that layer away and you're going to see their moon sign. And that's how somebody could appear like their very multiple personality, especially if they have very different ascendant, sun, and moon. Whew. But seriously, how can the most external part of your personality have the most influence over everything else? See, this is the Scorpio side of me. Some people have been asking about their ascendant, and I told them I would do this series next. And then other people have been asking if I'm a Scorpio. I guess I'll have to admit, yes, there's a lot of Scorpio. That's why I like the parts about astrology that are much more deep and intense. So, what to do about this pesky little ascendant? And believe me, it's not that I don't see an ascendant in somebody and feel that energy. I know it's there. You know it's there. It's real. I believe it's accurate. But why does it have so much importance placed on it? So in order to get the answer, I'm going to actually combine Eastern astrology with Western astrology and put them together. You can find out your karma of past lives through your Saturn, which I'll get to in a later blog, but you can also get to it through the North Node, which I just have been working on that series. And then the other way is through your rising sign. Karma is past life, and Dharma is future or current life. It's where you're headed towards. There are a lot of astrologers that talk about the rising sign having to do with the sign before what your rising sign is. So for example, if you have an Aries rising, that means in a past life you were a Pisces. Or if you were a Leo rising, then that means that in a past life you were Cancer. And this, I just don't see how this is going to really be relevant. Yes, one sign leads into another, but we don't necessarily go through those phases chronologically. And also, if your soul is entering this world from that place and that point in time, then it just makes more sense that it's something you're bringing to the table with you. Often, the ascendant is something you feel very strongly in your childhood. It's almost like your parents placed it onto you and wanted you to be that sign. And they didn't want you to be your sun sign. They wanted you to be your ascendant. For whatever reason, they thought that that was more impressive. And then through your life, your sun comes out more and more as you come to develop your own ego. The sun starts taking over as what you really want to be and who you want to see yourself as. And then the ascendant just only comes out when you're feeling nervous or when you're meeting new people or when you're in a new situation. And so I ask you, why is it that just like a wild animal, when they are put to the test and there is a predator staring them down, what do their instincts tell them to bring out first? Like with a blowfish, all of a sudden their body just like blows up. With a Capricorn ascendant, all of a sudden they get very kind of stern and business-oriented, serious, right? It's a defense mechanism. But why would a defense mechanism be something that just triggers without us even wanting it to trigger? Like, most people don't even know why they're doing it. It's just a reflex. What the ascendant truly is it's your ego from a past life. What? That's right. Your ascendant is what you felt, what you were, similar to a south node. Because remember, the rising sign or ascendant is in your first house. First being ego. It's your ego, even stronger than the sun is. because the sun is like an ego you're trying to develop. It's like a pair of jeans that you bought that were 2 sizes too small, and you keep trying to fit into them. That's what your sun sign is. But your ascendant is something that is so second nature to you that it's just like thoughtless. A lot of people also relate to their ascendant sign stronger than they do even their sun, and definitely stronger than their moon. So in psychology, this would be your consciousness. Your ascendant is your consciousness. And then going further towards the center of your personality, these are the things that are more hidden from you, like your moon sign. Also remember, in houses, first house, of course, is your ascendant, and seventh house is the descendant. And the descendant is what's hidden from you. What is other? You don't recognize this trait in yourself. You keep recognizing it in other people. Like, I'll go back to that Capricorn ascendant. If you have a Capricorn ascendant, you see that as that's who you are. And then the opposite of that is Cancer. And that's what you're going to want to see in other people. Like in your relationships, you might seek out somebody who is a Cancer-like personality. And you won't even see this trait in yourself until you see it in them. And then it shines back into your life. There's some astrologers on YouTube that are like, they hate some sign and they just are like, this is the best sign and everything else sucks. And this is so stupid, because really astrology is about, eventually the goal is that you understand everything, right? I mean, that's why we keep having different past lives, and that's why we keep having new positions, is that we're trying to learn how to fit into our new skin and how this works and how to think differently than we did before. South Node, North Node, and Ascendant, Descendant, these are 2 areas that give us a real clue in to our subconscious, those things that we're hiding from, that we don't want to see as part of ourself. If you have a North Node that's Aries and you have a Descendant that is Taurus, those are 2 signs that are really hard for you to recognize in yourself. And you might see those traits in other people and just be like, ew, that's gross, I hate that. That is a sign of weakness. So yes, an ascendant is the way you enter the world. It is the ego that is the strongest ego for you, which is your go-to. It's like your first weapon of defense. And the reason you choose that weapon is because you think it's the best. Once you feel more comfortable with someone, now you're going to show them that sun sign. That sun sign is something you're really developing and working towards, and you want to be it so bad. But you know that there's still some kinks to work out, and you're not fitting in that new personality perfectly yet. The moon is going to be when you're really backed into a corner, something that comes out of nowhere. Whoa, I didn't even know that was there, nor did anyone else. So then what does it mean if your ascendant and your sun are the same? Well, people are going to feel pretty confident that what you see is what you get. That initial first impression of you is going to be very similar to knowing you after a couple months. Once you become friends, they still see you as someone who is very confident in yourself. You were what you are, and there's no difference there. But the whole point of this blog that I'm doing is to give a why, not just what it means as far as your personality, but why is it there and how did it get there? So in a situation where someone has the ascendant and the sun as the same sign, this would mean somebody that whatever their ego was in a past life, you still have a lot to learn about that in this life. You haven't learned every single lesson. There's still more to pull from that. And that's why you've almost been given the same challenge. There's still more to learn. Now, if it's the opposite, let's say your ascendant is a Leo and then your sun sign is an Aquarius, and those are opposite signs, then you might feel kind of a little chaotic to people when they meet you. Like their first impression will be that you're very gregarious and you like to put on a show and you like to be the center of attention. But then once they start to get to know you, they start to see those Aquarius traits come out, and it's like, okay, like which person are you? Like, is your ego wrapped up in being the Leo, or is your ego wrapped up in being the Aquarius, right? So having the opposites can be a little tricky to deal with for other people as well as yourself, which could mean that in a past life, maybe you had too much of that Leo-ness. And now it's like, okay, we're going to take that from you and we're going to give you something completely different for you to deal with. And so it's going to be quite a challenge, but really good for you to see as far as your view of yourself, that you can really make this huge dramatic change to be something new. That's my take on ascendant and rising, and I might really piss a lot of people off because I am saying something that you've probably never heard before, but that is just the way that it comes to me. So, hope you enjoyed the blog with my wet hair and all, and we'll see you guys next time.